have to find the value of theta. So the first thing to do is divide by 5. And this side will also divide by 5. Now, why do you divide by 5? Okay, you realize that when you divide by 5, yes, you can cancel off. That's the whole idea of dividing by 5. And therefore, sine theta equals to 3 over 5. Okay, finally, how do I find theta? Yeah, we learned it in the last lesson. If you don't know this because you were not here, please know this. You press the calculator, shift or second function. You press this button and you press sine. What you'll get will be sine inverse. Okay, this will be the button you'll be getting. And what's the purpose? To find theta, yes, you will have. How do I bring over one more time? I press these two buttons and I'll have sine inverse 3 over 5. Can you try to press? You will get the angle that we want. So what is the value of theta? Yep, 36.9. I was waiting for the rest, okay? Next, before we start the 3 cases, this is not part of the 3 cases. Now I'm given the angle here, this length and this length. And it's a right angle triangle. I ask you to find the value of x. Okay, very important. Which formula are we going to apply? Yes, we will use the formula c squared equals to a squared plus b squared. Now you can use Torcaso. You can use Torcaso. But if you are able to use Pythagoras theorem, can I ask that you use Pythagoras theorem? 5 squared equals to x squared plus 3 squared. X squared equals to 5 squared minus 3 squared, which is 16. Okay, x squared will be 16, and therefore x is 4. All right, so this is a quick recap. Now, today we are having 3 cases, and then that's all for this chapter. So again, please, okay, don't mess this up. Now, I'm going to find the value of x. So the first step is to actually write down all the opposite hypoadjacent. Okay, let's start. This is the angle that I'm being given. So this part here is your opposite, adjacent, or hypo. Okay, so this will be your opposite. Then your hypo is which one? The left or the right? Okay, the hypo is here. Now, do you realize there's nothing here? Yeah. Then don't need to write. So you look at the letter O and H. So you have to memorize this. During exam, I would strongly advise that you write this down. Okay, please write this down. Now look at this, the 2 letters. There are some students who cannot find whether is it sine, cosine, or tangent because they never write this down. So what do we have on the left? Since we have the letter O and H, which one has the letter O and H? Sine. Yeah, so what does so mean? So means sine theta is opposite over hypo. Ka means cosine theta equals to adjacent over hypo. And tangent theta equals to opposite over adjacent. Okay, now some of you were not here last lesson, so you'll be a bit lost. Okay, let me just quickly go through this for you. In a right angle triangle, there will be 2 angles that's missing, right? So let's take an angle that we are looking at. Let's say this is the angle. The length opposite this reference angle is called your opposite. Okay, let's start with this. This is the opposite. Now the longest length will be your hypo, and the other remaining length is called your adjacent. Okay, now looking back at this example here, this is my opposite. This is the longest length. It's opposite the right angle, so this is the longest length. It's my hypo. So I got opposite, I got hypo. I should use sine theta. All right, so this is the formula you write down. The rest are super easy. You just need to plug in numbers. So what should I plug in for theta? Come on. Okay, please plug in correctly. I should plug in what for theta? Now, is it 17x or 56? Come on. Yeah, 56. Theta is the angle. So far, okay? Never mind, you can see this 3 times. You try to see a pattern. Opposite, what is the value you want to put in for opposite? Okay, opposite is x. And the hypo will be 17. All right, so today's lesson is actually how to solve this. We did this previous lesson already. So now is how to solve this. I have to bring over 17, so I will have 17 times sine 56 to give me x. Press calculator, what is the x value? 14.1, like what Jaden and Nabiha saying. 14.1. Okay, now this method here, it is called cross multiply. Now for cross multiply, okay, cross multiply, the unknown is at the numerator. Okay, the unknown is the numerator. The unknown is the numerator. Okay, there's only 3 cases only. So this is the first case whereby the unknown is the numerator. Okay, let's look at the second case. Step 1, label opposite, hypo, and adjacent. So this is the angle here. What do I call this? Opposite. No, it's not the hypo, it's the opposite. Then this one. This is the hypo. And this one will be adjacent. Now you see that the adjacent, there's nothing there, right? Can you just leave it blank? You only need 2 letters only. Tua, ka, and so, right? You only need 2 letters. Okay, now looking at that example here, which 2 letters are we looking at? Again, O. So we have sine again. Sine theta equals to opposite over hypo. Okay, first step was again to label O, H, and adjacent. Second step, write down the formula. And the last step is the easiest, just plug in the numbers. So what is theta? What is theta? Don't know, right? So you leave it as theta. What's the opposite value? How do I know? That's why it's good to write this down, right? Then you know it's 11.5. And finally, the hypo is 19.2. Okay, now this is the second case. How do I find theta? I will have to sine inverse this value. And what is the answer? Okay, the second case is when the unknown, okay, is the angle. All right, the unknown is the angle. Okay, the unknown is the angle. We have to do an inverse. Okay, and come press. What do you get? 36. You need to round up, don't you? Right? Okay, so first case is the unknown is at the numerator. You cross multiply. Second case, the unknown. Again, the unknown is the angle that you want to find. So you just do an inverse. Okay, so that's the last case. Really, then that's all already. The whole chapter, very simple. Okay, the last case will be this. I have to label. This is the angle, right? What is this here? Come on, is this the angle? What is this length called? Okay, if you are lost, you draw an arrow. Usually it helps. Draw an arrow. What length is this called? Opposite. Now, do you realize there's nothing there? So you can don't write the opposite. Okay, you can don't write. I write, then later I erase. Okay, now, what is this now? This is the hypo. And finally, what is this? The last one will always be the adjacent. Now, realize that the opposite has nothing there. It's not the length I'm finding. There is no number there. There is no x, no y, nothing at all. I will erase away. I don't want this. So which one should I use? All right, so let's take a look. I got the letter A and the letter H. Which one should I use? Ka. So you do this. You write down. Second step, cosine theta equals to adjacent over hypo ka. So plug in the numbers now. What do I plug in for theta? Okay, last part already, really last part already. 62.5. Okay, what do I plug in for A? 28. So do you see that if I write this down, it's really easier? And finally, the H. So this is the last case whereby the unknown is at the denominator. Okay, so what do? I will need to do something called a swap. Whereby, because the unknown is at the denominator, is the denominator. Okay, the unknown is the denominator. Okay, do you know what's the meaning of swap? Actually, it's a cross multiply. I cross this up. Okay, I will cross this up. So if I cross this up, it will become y down here, right? I cross up. What do? I bring down. So if I bring down, it will become y equals to 28 over, I bring down, cosine 62.5. Okay, be careful when you bring down the whole cosine 62.5. The cosine and the angle cannot separate one. Okay, you have to bring down together. Okay, so this was my original. This is my working. Can you see the swap? So from now on, just remember, if I have an unknown at the denominator and there's a value here, I can find y by swapping. It's a shortcut, just memorize, we swap it. Okay. Just to end this off, when do I use cross multiply? When the unknown is at the numerator. When do I use inverse, sine, inverse, cosine, inverse, tangent? When do I use inverse? When the unknown is the angle. That means the two lengths they give you, you have to find the angle. And the most difficult one for many students is, how do I know I need to do a swap? When the unknown is at the denominator. So I want to find y, right? I just cross multiply. So we call this a swap. Okay, and that's it. Wing, can you help me to stop the video?